Welcome to episode number 7 of the Q&A show. I'm Dave Dreas.
I'm Scott Emick.
We have a good one coming at you right now. What's going on today, Scott?
I'm hungry is what's going on.
We had our previous one was intermittent fasting, and I take it you have not ate yet.
I take it you're right.
Okay.
I mean, I've had a lot of water because it's about 180 degrees outside here in Phoenix, Arizona.
A lot of times when people, when we tell people we live in Phoenix, you're like, oh yeah, it's hot there. No, it's like extra hot today. You don't understand. That's why we're in here. We're still sweating in here too.
The air conditioning is fine.
Yes. What do we got today?
Well, of course we got a question.
Perfect. Keep sending them.
Comes in via YouTube, this one.
Okay.
What supplements do you recommend and why?
Good question.
Yeah.
First, I do a more in-depth video on this on modestlyrefined.com on the membership site, so feel free to check that out. And like I said, we'll get deeper into that on there. But here, I think this brings up a good opportunity for us just to kind of talk supplements. It's a very murky industry. And there needs to be highly competitive, and there needs to be a lot of context kind of put around supplements so that you have a better understanding of what you should take, what's necessary, what's not necessary, and kind of what you should just avoid.
So where do we start with that?
Quality?
What about quality? Quality versus regulation and that. Those
there's very little regulation in the supplement industry, and that can be a problem. It's a very low barrier to entry in a sense where Scott and I could create a company right now. We could have a third party manufacture it. We could go fairly cheap on the ingredients because we want to make higher margins so we make more money, and then we'll get some super hot bikini model and some ripped bodybuilder. We'll put them
on the front of the
from
container.
A marketing standpoint.
Call it the Q&A show. Protein.
Advanced protein synthesis, and then sell it down your throat, and then all of a sudden you think it's cool, and then bam, like we're now in the supplement game. So ultimately, it's very deregulated or not regulated, and it's very easy to create. So that creates a problem because now what's actually real, what's not, what are you actually taking in, what are you not, what are you absorbing, what are you not absorbing?
What claims are you making?
Well, there's claims issues that you can get into. I think there was just something recently. There was a company. Well, there was a company though, a couple companies that didn't. They claimed X amount of grams of branched chain amino acids in their protein powder, and when I think an independent person or group studied it or ran it through some tests, and it came back that they weren't even close to what the claims were, so people have been buying it for years, and it's just is not correct. So it's very murky in that regard where there's just a lot of crap out there. So quality is important. You've got to find a reputable company. I think I'm going to link up a site below. I think it's Watchdog. There's something that allows you to kind of see how well the companies are, if they use like even a third-party independent monitoring company that's going to put it through tests as well to make sure that it is quality. And then we'll talk about this. Examine.com is probably the most unbiased, great resource. They don't talk about specific companies, but they're going to talk about, what are the benefits of fish oil, and it's going to have a bunch of different studies of fish oil. And
it's a great resource.
It's going to take it from different angles of like, here's 13 studies that show how fish oil can provide fat loss. There's 12 studies of how fish oil can help reduce inflammation. So, and then it's going to tell you the legitimacy of those studies, or if it's fairly accurate, or if it's, so it's going to give you an idea of, is it worth taking in a sense?
I think it's important to do a little bit of research here too, because the products aren't cheap.
No.
So you want to make sure you're getting you're getting a good product for the money.
You're essentially not flushing it down the toilet.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other issue about, when you reach that saturation point, you're going to be doing that anyway.
Right. I guess we should just say what we take, I guess.
Yeah, well, what are the top 4?
3, 4, 5, it just kind of depends. I take a protein powder. There's a lot on the market. I don't know if I take a variety. It's almost like cereal. We were talking about, I don't know, when you're a kid, you go through different boxes of cereal. You might do Lucky Charms for 1 week, then it's Cinnamon Toast Crunch, then it's Honeycomb. So that's kind of how I am with protein right now. I have a couple different ones in my cabinet. It just kind of depends on what I feel like taking for the day.
And if you do like cereal, there's the Cinnamon Toast Crunch
is a
flavored
good brand that you're taking.
Protein. Yeah. I love that stuff. I love it.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
It's a little sweet,
but protein powder, I'm partial to whey. I don't have an issue with digestion. I think you're the same way.
Yeah.
I think whey is going to have a generally.
That a pun?
same way, no pun intended. It's actually pretty good. I didn't do that on purpose. Whey protein's gonna have, traditionally is gonna have a little better amino profile. It's just gonna be a better overall protein for you to take. I'm not slighting any vegetarian option or anything like that, but if you can take whey and don't have an issue with dairy, have at it, go for it. Your other options would be like a vegan protein, whether that's hemp, whether that's pea protein, whether that's a rice protein. There's a variety of different ones out there that you could have that will also work if you want to go that route. I take a probiotic. I think is extremely important. Gut health is important. It depends on the quality. There's so many different strands of probiotic. I'm not well versed into all those strands, so find one that encompasses a couple of them.
Yeah.
And then another thing I take is a fish oil. I do a liquid fish oil. And
those benefits you have?
Is you're just going to get a little bit different absorption versus a pill. Everyone's so different in what people absorb, so I would assume that just going liquid is going to do more than a pill.
But why a fish oil supplement?
Oh, okay. Fish oil, inflammation, can help with joints, help reduce, what was it? I want to say cholesterol. But it can lower your hypertension, stuff like that, heart disease, all that kind of stuff. So fish oil, omega-3s can be very beneficial for you. And then the other thing, vitamin D, I think is really important. I do have a liquid vitamin D as well. Even if you're tan, even if you live in Arizona and you're out in the sun all the time, you still might be deficient in vitamin D. I think that's extremely important to make sure you get enough vitamin D. That's gonna help, I think, from an energy standpoint. It's gonna help you sleep better. It can help reduce your cortisol levels, which can help you lose body fat. It's just one of those encompassing things that can affect all sorts of other different things. The absorption, calcium, vitamin D together can make a difference as well. So there's a lot of different benefits of having the right amounts of vitamin D. And that brings us into the question though, and I would recommend you go do a blood panel so you can see.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you about that because I know that you are a big proponent of that. And I think instead of spending money on products that you don't need, you can spend money on products that you do need.
Well, I think it gives you an idea.
Yeah.
You might find out that you're super deficient in vitamin D, so then it's worth kind of supplementing
the
vitamin
protein
D.
you need.
Protein's good from a macro standpoint. And I think a lot of people have a difficulty, if you're eating 180 to 200 grams of protein a day, if you're a guy out there having to reach that, it might be tough if you're having to consume hard food all day to get a whey chug or something.
And then
like
you put the intermittent fast on it. Thank you very much,
harder.
Dave.
Yeah.
Makes it really, nearly.
It can.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't want to get too much into like branched chain amino acids, glutamine. Creatine's really well studied.
I want to ask you a question about glutamine though, so we'll have that on a future episode coming up. So.
Glutamine's fine. Branched chains are okay. If you get enough protein, you should be all right. In a sense, you don't necessarily need to have extra, if that makes sense. Creatine's very well studied, very beneficial. If you want to take creatine, I am not consistent in my creatine taking. I take it occasionally. I should probably take it more
What's
often.
the benefit of creatine?
It's going to have water retention. It's going to allow you to put on a little bit more size if that's your goal. You're going to get it in a lot of red meat, so it's beneficial if you want to do that. Or get plenty of red meat, you should be fine. You don't necessarily need to get excess from there if you eat a lot of red meat. So, it's just supplements are tough to talk about because a lot of people have biases towards certain ones. A lot of people swear by some. A lot of people have been screwed by supplement companies. A lot of supplement companies suck. So it's really just... it's tough to talk about.
Yeah, I have a recovery product that I've used for years that I love, and you find something that you like. I think that's a good thing. You find something that you like and it's working for you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it. Yeah, there's not a right or wrong. You don't have to do what we do. You can kind of put together your own stack per se, and if you feel, whether or not if it's a placebo or not, if you feel that it's benefiting you and you feel good with it, just continue to do it. If you have it within your budget, essentially, if you don't want to waste money, then don't do it and just eat whole foods and go that route as well. I think before we let you go, I just do want to say that supplements aren't going to get you to your results any quicker than the actual hard work, proper nutrition. Those things are far more important. Sleep, way more important than supplements. So think of it as like if there was an importance level, supplements is like at the very end of it on the caboose. You need to fill up everything else before you get to the end.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
No, yeah. Makes complete sense. It's a good point.
I thought this was kind of a tough one to talk about.
It is tough because we could go so many different directions. And we'd have a 30-minute episode. Which
you know what? I honestly don't think this was my best performance. I don't. I hope I covered what the question was, but I just really don't think it was my best performance on this one.
All right, well, you know what? The Academy might go to someone else this time around, but don't be so hard on yourself. Yeah. There's episode 8.
It's the heat. It's getting to me.
It's the heat. It's the heat.
Do the outtake. I've had
what?
enough.
No. Just you need to drop. You need to drop your questions in the comment section below. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
Snapchat.
That's it. That's all we've got.
Stay cool, my friends.